Welcome.
Welcome.
We have our resident diva. Sorry. We have Fad and Rafi. Local friendly neighborhood Dawa boy or Dawa bro.
Dawa bro.
And then therapist, licensed therapist. We didn't really fully introduce the podcast.
Right.
Like what's it called?
We didn't talk. Yeah.
They'll get it from like the name, but it's called Achaj. You want to explain why we chose Achaji?
So we chose Achaji because Acha is like a very common sort of phrase saying in like the South Asian community.
Yes.
It's like Acha, Acha, Acha. So
you can use it in many different contexts.
in many different don't put that in, okay? We can it's because you can use it in many different contexts. We thought it makes sense.
If I look shiny, it's because we spent the last 2 hours trying to get the correct setup. So
actually no one cares.
To the topic at hand. Today we're discussing Rafia's favorite topic, racism.
No.
In this South Asian
colorism,
community.
okay? Oh. Say the right word.
What's the difference?
There is a difference.
Explain the difference. Define your terms.
I mean, it is racism, but like, well, yeah, I guess it is racism because colorism is racism. But it's more so intercultural racism within South Asian communities. You know, when we talk about racism, the first thing we think about is like East versus West. We're more so, I think, going to focus on the racism we see within our culture, within our circles. People from the same country, but they are still racist towards each other.
I've personally experienced racism from families, but I don't think they realize that they're doing it, which makes it worse.
Yep.
Which means that's something they will never
They don't
fix.
realize, yeah. Yeah, if you don't realize you're doing something wrong, obviously.
Yeah.
You're not going to fix it. I think that's one of the biggest problems that I wouldn't say no one, I think it's changing now with the younger generation, but it's still very much.
Is it?
I think so. I think there's more awareness about the repercussions of colorism, racism within our culture. Do I see the positive changes coming out yet? I don't. But I do see people talking more about it. People are more vocal about it. I see people calling out, for example, the older generation on things that shouldn't, that were wrong, completely wrong. And that kind of gave sort of a pathway to racism that we're going to discuss a bit more.
Okay, I think the purpose of us talking about racism, it's to provide a little bit more like practical substance to the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So if somebody for example, if there's racism within, we talk about the first area, the marital process.
Yeah.
Right. So if somebody wants someone outside the culture, immediate racism kicks in. Then like the Islamic values are ignored.
Right.
Or so righteousness is ignored.
Yeah.
Just the choice of the individual is ignored.
Right.
And it's more so you have to do everything for the parents.
Right.
Which I think stems from racism or the racism from the parents.
Yeah.
Right. This the only reason this is a very huge issue is because it conflicts with in my opinion, it conflicts with people's marital process. For me, the marriage aspect of racism is like maybe top 2 or top 3.
Yeah.
Because that's where it all starts for me.
But that's the thing, right? It has to start from your casual settings within families for it to be translated then into the marital process.
Like, I know within the South Asian community, you have like everyone wants to be white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They have like creams dedicated to that stuff. Blatant racism. They present it shamelessly.
Yeah.
Everyone's okay with it.
Right.
And society has been running
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole chain of events. So when we start by saying, okay, at this point in time in our generation, this should not continue.
Yeah.
What is sort of like the first step for you in that chain breaking?
I think the first step is what we were talking about, recognition. Like you have to recognize this is not okay. Coming even from like an Islamic, firstly, there's no Islamic rooting or grounding behind the colorism, that's so prevalent in South Asian community. there's no one superior when it comes, Islam is very clear about that. You're not superior to one another because of your race, because of your skin color, because of your ethnicity. You're not. That does not give you an upper hand over the other. You're going to be judged the same by Allah, right? So I think like when I think about like the older generation, like growing up, my experiences, like for example, when I was in grade, I don't even remember, very young, like this is literally your formative years, right? This is when you're trying to make sense of the world around you, the people around you. And I remember we had a gathering, and I think I might be like Asma's age, like maybe 4 or 5, and we had a gathering. And
That young and you remember?
Or maybe 6, 7, but I do.
6, 7?
Because now that you say, but I think I was really young, like 5, 6, something like that. Is that too young? I feel like I would remember because it was not a good experience.
It was
it was a bad experience.
Yeah.
But it was. But just to give you a context, like I was really young, and then we were in a gathering, and there was this auntie and her kids, and kids just want to play with each other, but her girls wouldn't play with me, and their reasoning was blatantly, I'm not even paraphrasing, this is what the girl said: we don't want to play with her because she is darker, she has a darker skin tone. I'm not even making no exaggeration, but the worst part is, okay, there were kids. Fine. Not that it's okay, because you're clearly learning from somewhere that it's okay to say that. But then she went up. So I went up to my mom, and I was just like, up until then, I never realized this was ever a problem. Like, having a different kind of skin tone, whatever. This is my first ever exposure to this kind of nonsense, okay?
Oh, that's wild.
So I go up to my mom, and I tell her, I'm like, they're not playing with me because they're saying I'm like darker skin tone. And the auntie, which is their mother, she laughs at my mom. She goes like, yeah, my kids don't like playing with girls or like kids that are like a bit darker. She said it to my mom's face. And I have never forgotten that experience, like etched in my memory. And I think that's why I'm saying it's so important to recognize how wrong that is, because of course you grow up and you learn, like that's just nonsense. There's no like there's no logic in that kind of thinking, right? But it kind of stays, like those kind of things, they do stay with you here or there. But yeah, I think the first step is to very clearly recognize there's no like blurring in that recognition that you are not better than anyone just because your skin tone, you have a paler skin tone, or you have. Yeah, that does not make you better in any way.
Until you recognize
that, yeah.
Like you recognize that it's a problem, it's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And even personally, from a lot of my friend circles, we still had like there's always jokes, like within among friend circles. And sometimes I get the person who's joking is not actually like that. But you still have like words that are passed around. I don't even know if I can say it in South Asian culture in Urdu, to refer to people who are black. I think it starts with a K. Like there's a slang term for it.
Yeah, there's a slang term for it. Yeah.
And like I've seen it used a lot. Which gets me to think that which is part of the reason where in the beginning nobody in my friend circle was all like South Asians.
Right. Yeah.
So we never knew how to. Now I do.
Yeah.
I personally do.
Yeah.
But the South Asian friend circle that I have.
Yeah.
That I had even before, I don't think knew how to be with people of a different culture.
Different culture, yeah.
Because all they would do is be racist and joke around.
Yeah.
It's like not to say that they didn't treat them as human beings. Yeah. It's basically close to it because everyone thinks that they're superior.
And when you're mocking it, you're essentially normalizing that behavior. That you can mock someone because of the way they look. You can mock someone because of their skin tone or because of their race. But I also, we're talking about okay, you recognize the first step. But I also think another thing that's very important is the way parents kind of approach this issue in our culture. Like, and what I mean by that, for example, like growing up, like I can only give my example, and I unfortunately think a lot of South Asian girls can maybe relate to this. And I say it unfortunately, like it's not a good thing that you can relate to it, but I think you probably can. So anyone who's grown up in that sort of culture, but we're told things like, and I don't know. You can tell me from a guy's perspective or someone, in like a South Asian. If you're a guy from a South Asian culture, no, but like someone, no, I'm saying it in the sense if you have a certain kind of skin tone. That's what I'm saying. Because for girls, I've heard this so much. Oh, don't go out in the sun; you're gonna get tan. Don't wear pastel colors because you are going to look darker. Some culture, some people also think if you drink a lot of tea, you are basically going to have a very, like a darker skin tone. What else? Use bleach creams. Yeah, the bleach cream market in Pakistan is crazy. Some of these things, and the thing is, I can recognize it all that I want, but like growing up, those were things that were very, like, I've heard those things a lot. So even though I recognize it, it's still sort of, if I for example, try to wear like something that's a pastel color, like first thing I think about is like, oh wait, I'm not gonna look good in it. But obviously you like get out of it, you learn that that's just nonsense. But that's my thing. Like, yeah, you have to recognize it, but it's also important, I think, for the next generation to come, where as you have kids, where you become mothers and fathers, it's important for you to not carry on these traditions of don't go in the sun. Why? Because you're going to get tanned. No, don't go in the sun because you might get skin cancer. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But not because, you're going to get like 2-3 shades darker. Or don't wear a certain color or don't wear whatever, like those things really need to stop in our culture.
Okay, so the question arises. Mm-hmm. Can people have a preference?
In what sense?
Like,
are you talking in terms of marriage or just in
general?
First
for themselves.
For themselves?
Can I have a preference for myself that I want to look lighter? Or is this in and of itself kind of a flawed morality? That you can't determine who you are or what your value is based on a superficial characteristic.
I also then would ask you, what is the intention behind having that preference? I think that's important. Okay, it's fine. You have a certain preference to look a certain way, to have a certain kind of skin tone, but what's the intention behind it? Where is it coming from?
I don't think you can run away from the idea that you think one looks better than the other. Right?
And that's the problem. That's the problem I have.
Yeah, like I get that you can't be like, okay, one looks better than the other. And you can't think like that. Morally, that's weak.
Yeah.
To establish.
Yeah.
Islamically, that's weak.
Yeah.
But in terms of like cultural tradition.
Yeah.
I personally don't think that could be a preference. You can't have a preference. Like for me, is the only preference is what's highlighted in Islam. All of this is the idea of looking at the looks, the lineage, or the wealth, and then the deen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, all of these things, the thing that should weigh the most in your scale should be the deen.
The deen, right? The character, deen,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that happens.
Not as much.
I haven't seen it happen.
Yeah,
anyway.
not to the extent it should be happening.
Yeah, all I've seen people talk about is either if somebody, from a guy perspective, it's like, okay, if somebody has a good job, and they're working, great. Doesn't matter what he looks like. Right. There's no emphasis on anything else but career and money. That's it.
Right.
And because there's no emphasis on anything else, the important parts get overlooked. Right. So you have. Within families, you have guys that are only focusing on work and getting money and doing whatever they can to get that money and their career and whatnot, that they forego themselves, right? Which for me is like a different topic. It takes into like the unhealthy gut issue for guys, and that's all. But sticking to the colorism thing is Uh, guys, I think they're just like parents are just way more lenient with guys. I don't know.
Yeah, and surprise, surprise, what do you think? The girls, what sort of the requirement for girls are?
Is it because the surrounding culture around girls is like what girls provide is like materialistic, superficial things. Like that's what they're raised to provide.
That's what they're, yeah, I think, and that's what the girls are raised. That's the kind of mentality that a lot of girls are raised with, and also that's the kind of the kind of mentality a lot of, I think, guys are also raised with. So that if they're conditioned that way, of course those are the things they're going to look for because that's all they know. Like for example, the entire rishta culture. I don't want to go into that topic. It's a completely different topic, but
some of these are exciting for me. I've never been to this rishta culture.
Yeah,
like is it like a like what's the like,
rishta
what's the
culture?
synopsis of it?
There are some people, they do people who've gone through rishta culture. Exactly what I'm talking about. They do like these profiles, okay?
Like biodata?
Biodata, okay? So these profiles, and a lot of, and I haven't personally, don't come at me, anyone. If
you have a biodata?
No. Okay. Excuse me, let me talk about okay, what's important.
Please.
Okay. So, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. Anyways, is that I have personally not seen in that profile biodata thing where a girl has specifically written this down, but I have seen it so many times from a guy's biodata where they're like, oh, what I'm looking for in a life partner. And so many times I have seen slim and fair. Slim and fair.
The girl, that's what the guy wants of the girl?
That's what the guy wants in a girl.
Damn.
Slim and fair. Now, I'm all for, like, of course, you need to be attracted to your partner. I'm not taking, that's a completely different topic. Mm-hmm. But it's again that thing of like, I think that's what we have been raised to focus on. Like for a lot of females, focus on the beauty aspect, their looks, maybe their financial standard, how wealthy their family is. And then for the guys...
But is that even still theirs? That's just their family. Like that's still not looking at the girl's financial.
That's the family. But a lot of... We're going towards rishta. This is a rishta culture topic now, but a lot of like the way in our culture, a lot of this rishta process goes, a girl's worth is unfortunately, and I can only obviously talk from a female's perspective, is unfortunately tied very heavily to her looks, and her family's financial standard. I don't know how that affects the marriage or why it matters. I don't know if anyone can maybe enlighten me, but these are things you see, and it's because of the ongoing things that are going on, and this goes on as soon as you're born. This goes on in cultures, this is how you're conditioned for a female. Like, okay, you gotta look a certain way, or you gotta like behave a certain way, or you're not gonna get a rishta. A guy, like, okay, yeah, for guys, I know career, money, that's a huge thing guys go through, right? That's like the first thing they look for. But then when it comes to what are their requirements for a wife, a lot of them, again, it's coming from cultural nonsense. Like, she needs to be needs to be a certain weight, needs to look a certain way, needs to have a certain kind of skin tone. But we're not, anyway, yeah. I'm speechless. This is a very triggering topic. But anyway.
This is where the conversation of preference that comes in then.
Yeah.
Right? I know we're like, okay, what's the intention behind the preference?
Yeah.
So I think skin tone shouldn't be a preference. Mm-hmm. Like you shouldn't prefer any sort of skin tone.
Yeah.
Because I think being attracted to your partner, it doesn't have to do with skin tone.
Yeah.
Right? So with the intention, what we said before, if your skin tone is a preference, that means there's an underlying intention, ulterior motive behind that intention.
Yeah. Like I have a very don't mean to cut you off, but I already did.
I'm sure you mean to.
So my thing is, again, preferences. Of course, you can have preferences, but I have a very difficult time understanding that if you have a skin tone preference, that it's coming from a good place.
So what is that good place?
That's what I'm saying. I
Is there
can't.
even a good place?
Huh?
Is there even a good place that you could have a skin tone preference from?
That's what I'm saying. So if that's a justification, sometimes a justification is, oh, but you can have a preference, like how you want your partner to look like. Of course you can have a preference, but again, it's like if it's like these kind of materialistic things, if like let's say if it's like an amazing person, amazing character, fulfills everything else, but then you come down to the skin tone. Where is it coming from?
I think that means the skin tone was the deciding factor.
Unfortunately, right? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't come. I don't think it ever comes from.
So you're saying having skin tone as a preference, but not as a deciding factor, can be okay?
No, I'm not saying that.
So
my problem is, if you have a preference, this is all I'm saying.
So skin tone shouldn't exist as a preference. So eliminate that category.
If you have, and I think this is a really good point for everyone to reflect who's listening, who might have experienced this or knows someone who has these kind of preferences. If you do, where is it coming from? And why do you have that preference? Because my understanding is, if that's the preference you have, you think, and I'm trying my best not to generalize, but you might have a mindset that one skin tone is better and superior to another. I don't see any other reason to prefer a certain.
What about attraction?
But then again, like, okay, there's attraction to looks, which I guess skin tone comes in it, but then there's just skin tone.
You're saying denying somebody and hyperfixating on skin tone.
Skin tone.
So like skin tone can be like a secondary, or like not even a secondary, like a tertiary.
Yeah, like why is that? Why should that ever be a reason to say no? That's my thing.
And that exists in something.
Oh, of course it does, and it still does. I was saying initially that there's a lot of awareness. Unfortunately, it still exists, though. We still see it. It's so prevalent back home. Forget back home. It's even prevalent here. Like, I see it here, too. That mindset, that cultural mindset, people bring it with them. They don't leave it back home, It comes wherever you're going with you.
I've seen external racism. Like I've seen like internal racism, but I've seen racism where like desi people have racism towards non-desi people. Right. So like desi people would think that they're superior.
Yeah.
Versus non-desi.
Non-desi.
Right. Like whether it be through their actions, their character, their behaviors, their habits, their culture. Culturally, I don't get, but desi people think. I've met people who think that their culture is superior than like Western culture, for example. Which I don't think like I don't think there's a specific Western culture.
I find that okay. Sorry. Perfect on my point. Yeah.
No, I'm saying like I'm not saying that because I would be considered like a whitewashed brown guy. Right, because
from like within our South Asian culture.
So I'm like exiled from like a like a desi group. I'm like a foreigner, right? So I can't even fit in with my own people,
culture,
right? And I can't fit in with Western people,
right?
So I don't fit in anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think this stems from racism, right? So just because I don't speak, for example, like the way that Urdu is spoken by people who are grown up in Urdu in Pakistan or whatever it may be, then I'm automatically classified as a foreigner and I don't understand the culture. Right. Right. I think that's part of racism.
It is, yeah.
Right. That I'm like that people are kind of put people like that to the side because they think they're too whitewashed or they've adopted the white culture. But this has been from like when I used to do like videos with my dad, hashtag family fusion, whatever. But when we did videos together on just issues like this.
Yeah.
People from back home, even family included, they would exile what I would say.
Yeah.
Because they would think that I have no clue what that culture is, just because of how I spoke.
Right.
right? So if I can speak fluent English and not with an accent,
Yeah.
that means I'm not deserving or on being in that sphere.
Involved in like certain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. This like I've spoken to with my wife before this as well. I don't like when you should have some sort of etiquette. The more you're learning Islam, the more etiquette in your speech, in your behavior, like intention, everything, right?
Yeah.
So I personally don't like when you have like those really desi guys, like that the Urdu they speak is like just like I can't even mimic it. Like it's just
What do you mean?
like
they're.
like the Urdu.
Yeah.
Like
But what don't you like about that? What do you dislike about it?
It's like sophistication is like taken away from it.
In the way they talk.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like slang and just talking to each other as if like your homeboys in the village. Like I understand that, but there's some level of like sophistication. Like even in my own families, like my own relatives, guys amongst themselves like say messed up things.
Right.
This happened to me too. Like people took me, some of my like cousins took me to the side because they thought I couldn't understand Urdu as well as I did. So they just took me for a drive late at night. There was like 5 or 6 of us in like one car, which is weird. But then they started speaking Urdu and saying like next level things, like confessing next level things.
Just because they think you're not understanding.
Yeah, they think that I don't understand.
Well, jokes on you guys. He knows your secrets now.
I did, and I went to my parents. I was like, "You guys do know that this is what's going on," and this was because they thought that this is where reality comes out, right? So this for me. This stems from racism. This stems from the idea that you think of me as an other, therefore I can't relate with your problems. Yeah. Right. So because they did that, then it's just a chain reaction of just poor decisions.
Right.
Then if not, which leads me to the next step, if not taken care of practically, which I try to. So if let's say if I have a conversation with my parents, I'm like, look, this is what went on amongst us in our family. Yeah. And my parents didn't believe me at first. They're like, oh, they're great kids, right? But I was like, no, they're great kids in front of you, right? So, but like
all parents think all kids are like.
It wasn't even their kids. Like,
no, that's why they think they're great kids. Anyway, it's a different topic.
Yeah. So like nobody accepts that something is wrong.
Is wrong.
Like massively wrong.
That's why I think the first step is always recognition. You have to recognize how damaging it is. Not even just wrong, it is damaging on so many levels. It messes up with your mind, it messes up with your self-esteem, your confidence. You think something is wrong with you when nothing is wrong with you. Allah made you in the best shape and form. He said it, He's made you in the best form. And it makes me very sad that just because of this cultural nonsense that seeps into it, there's no Islamic backing to this kind of thinking. Nothing good comes out of it. Long term, short term, it won't.
So I think we're like a practical. So after recognition, I think there's gonna be like some necessary discussions. Heated or not, depends on your family system.
Family system, yeah.
Right. Some families they can have a discussion like this, and it'll be fine. It won't be much of an issue. Yeah. And everything will be fine. Yeah. But I think to bring it up. Yeah. To bring it up, it becomes in most families to bring this issue up. Yeah. Becomes like a very heated argument. Right, because like long time ago, even if I just brought it up, like even before marriage, a long time ago, even if I just brought it up, my parents would assume that I'm like trying to get married to this skin color that I'm defending. And so that was my perspective. Like, so if somebody, if I in my culture, if I saw something that's like people who are dark, so I'm like, let's not do this. Yeah. Their assumption was directly like, I have somebody in mind to get married to this person who's these guys trying to defend.
I'll have so much to talk about that. another topic.
That was like the number one pet peeve for me. That if I try to just genuinely defend something
Yeah.
without having any personal interest,
Yeah.
I just thought it was wrong. It was always looked at as what they wanted to look at. So
Yeah.
they didn't believe me when I said, no, it's nothing like that. I don't have anybody in mind. This is just wrong what you just said. And they wouldn't
Yeah.
accept.
But I think, like, yeah, of course, recognition. But I think a practical step after that is you have to, regardless, try to just stand up. Stand up for something that you see is wrong. Talk about it. Even if you have, I mean, I know it can be a little tricky, especially if you have very toxic family members and
I think you should still talk about it, even if you're the only one.
You should still stand up. And if it's not happening a lot in your family, do it in your friend circles. Do it maybe at work. Talk to people. I think it's very important when you recognize that something, especially as a believer, I think if you're recognizing that cultural patterns are toxic, they're damaging, the damage they've done to you, the damage you've seen it do to your parents and grandparents and their parents, it's a cycle, right? It keeps going on. You've seen it all. Stand up for it. That's the only way moving forward. I think we can make some good changes, but you really do have to recognize and you do have to stand up, even if you're the only one doing it in your family or in your circle.
I think one I think important thing to understand when you are doing it is that if you've been given some sort of clarity, then clarity doesn't come by itself. If you have clarity, it comes with responsibility. Right? If you're the only one that's been given clarity in your family, for example, you can't just sit there. We shouldn't just sit there.
Yeah.
And just let wrong things happen.
Yeah.
Right? We have like systems within Islam to like tackle these issues. Like we have the with hadith that same famous that everybody knows, where if you see something wrong, you change it with your hand. If you can't change it with your hand, you change it with your voice. If not your voice, then hate it in your heart.
Right.
I haven't even seen hatred in their heart. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the weakest of the faith. Right? So if you've been given clarity, starting with your heart, that you think that inside you feel that this is wrong.
Yeah.
Next step is, like Rafi said, talk about it, stand up for it, because it's the more you do it, the easier then the last step becomes. Okay, now you can actually change stuff. So the more we talk now, for example, generationally, you might be able to actually implement habits in your family or in your friend circles, in your communities, to actually change this mindset, right? But it has to start with hating it in your heart.
And also, I think shut it down wherever you see this happen. I know, right? Today's topic is more so about colorism and racism. If you see these things happen in your circles, in your family, extended family, even workplace, shut it down. Try, and if you don't even if, like, I know it requires a bit of courage, and like sometimes it takes a little time to get to that step. But I think, like Fahad said, if you have it, if you're hating it in your heart, you have that clarity. I think that will come with time. But I think I'm not even just talking about the people. Me too. Like I try to call these things out. I try to shut people out. I try to question their beliefs. Like, why do you think this is better than the other? What kind of mindset is this? And it took me a while, obviously, to get here, but it does start from within. And if you are at that point, try to get up the courage to shut these conversations down and call people out when something like that is happening.
Yeah, like I think from the Islamic sense, even if like you have like, I know some people are afraid they're okay to disappoint their parents, or like get into like a heated discussion with their parents and getting to a yelling match or shouting match. Like, I get it, I understand that. I understand that there's this fear of, okay, you're gonna disappoint your parents, or you're gonna have a bad conversation, you're gonna disrespect them. You can work towards being somebody who disagrees respectfully, right? If we all, let's say if nobody ever speaks up, right? Whether you do it, for some people, whether you do it respectfully or not, people are gonna hate it either way. If it kind of, and I feel like fixing racism kind of shakes the core of South Asian culture, right? So it's like, this is for me, this is the example of Quraysh and their business dealings, right? So when the Prophet ﷺ came and gave like a solution, okay, there's no other God but one God, that kind of shook the Quraysh financially, because their idol, they relied on their idols for people to come and trade. Right. So a lot of, I think, if you start talking about like concepts like racism, I think it kind of shakes people and their South Asian culture to the core. Yeah. Because it's so embedded in it, right? Internally and externally. And a lot of our traditions are around it. Right? Like I've seen bridal makeup where they change the shade. Oh yeah. Which is wild. How did I forget about that? That's insane. They go from like natural to ghost. Like I remember, oh my god, it's crazy. I remember whenever I have used like the shade, whatever my skin tone is, the shade, if I want to put some makeup on, I use the shade that I am. And I've heard like, why don't you use like a shade like a bit lighter, like 2-3 shades lighter? And I'm just like, but like why? Why do I need to do? I'm gonna look like a gray person. I'm not even gonna look pale, I'm gonna look gray. Anyways. But I think this is a really unfortunately it's an experience which a lot of South Asian, especially females go through. And you know what, I would really love for you guys, if you're watching this and if you want to share your experiences, I think that would be really good. It's important to have these open conversations, and we would love for you to like share those experiences. Yeah, we will read your comments if you're comfortable sharing maybe a portion of your experience, a part of your experience. If you're not comfortable sharing all of it, like in the comments, we'll read through it. It helps to kind of show that you can develop this sort of like a community that kind of thinks, like, not to say that, but like a community that uses their intellect in terms of like what they do in life, right? And not just stay silent about it, right? So, because I've seen mostly people who do think stay silent about it, and because of their silence, a lot of this nonsense gets passed down. So to develop this type of like support system where you guys are, even if you're commenting, supporting, whatever you're doing, it shows that, okay, there's people who don't want to put up with this. And because they don't want to put up with this, there's a chance for a kind of shift to occur. Yeah. But which always needs to happen, like especially for South Asian culture, I think always needs to happen. Yeah. Or any culture in general, because I don't think cultures are like concrete in their like morality and if they're good or not. They always have to be constantly analyzed. Yeah. Right. And I think there's like a lot of racism, like things we can talk about further, but I don't know if you want to mention any other thoughts you have. My mind was more at the colorism thing today, of course, but there are a lot of other issues which I think there's examples like I feel like we're starting out like our thing is with the podcast is we go broader and into like general topics, right? You guys will see we'll have also my parents on and get their side of how racism kind of was around them, how it influenced their decisions, if they got out of it, how they got out of it. I think they got out of it, but we'll find out. like I think most of these topics that we talk about, they're always gradually present, like in like small aspects everywhere in the culture. Yeah. And so whatever it may be, a part of these issues are always present. Right? And racism is just a huge part that's just present in a lot of these aspects. Whether it be marriage, whether it be family life, whether it be like friends, work, whatever it is. There's aspect of work. If you look, nicer, if you look better, it's pretty easier. Exactly, pretty privileged, right? There's all of these aspects kind of, they're heavily emphasized in the South Asian culture. Right, and it's becoming more and more damaging. It's kind of seeping into the next generation, and if it continues to seep through into the next generation, it just makes things worse. Right? Yeah. Because I'm not seeing a lot of like teaching. Like I don't mind like having a conversation with the next generation and going through it,
Yeah.
but there's no conversation happening, and these habits are just seeping through
Right. 'Cause there's
without
no
any context.
solutions
Yeah.
to like how do we
It's like this is just how we are,
yeah.
right?
So that's the thing. I think this one of our main goals with this sort of podcast talk show, it was also to sort of pod show. Okay.
We're starting a new thing.
Pod show.
Pod
Was
show.
also for you guys, whoever's watching, regardless of what generation you come from, millennials, Gen Z, whatever, boomers. I don't know.
Maybe they are watching.
Maybe they are watching.
My parents.
But okay, we're cutting that out.
What? Boomers.
Okay, boomers is to question. Even if you have this mentality, don't feel offended. I think a good way to look at it would be, okay, I have this mentality, but like I have this way of thinking, but why? Where is it coming from? And if I believe it, at my core, I believe this. Why do I believe it? And what's sort of the flip side of the coin? How would it change the way I view people or my interactions within my circles? How would that change if I were to question what if I have a certain kind of mindset right now that we spoke about today?
Yeah, like we're not trying to attack.
No.
Right. It's more of like a supportive.
Yeah.
Place, like a supportive safe haven.
I think it's very important to question your beliefs, your cultural beliefs and values, and I think that's one of the most important ways moving forward to kind of break generational traumas, just very damaging customs and traditions that is present in our culture, and it just keeps moving on from one generation to another.
So with that said, I think it's easier for younger people to recognize something as an issue. Right. Because we're just wild, right? Right, but
yeah, it's just because we're wild. Okay.
No, but we question more, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that you and I can have a conversation sitting here, many of the older generation would not occur.
Will not occur, yeah.
Right, which means that they won't be exposed to different perspectives, and if they're not exposed to different perspectives, they'll never be able to like figure out what they believe is right or wrong.
Wrong, right.
Right, which as Muslims believers we're supposed to be mirrors to one another. Right, so we fix each other, and by practically that means we converse with one another, we talk to each other and figure out life together as a whole. Yeah. Right. So inshallah, for the next one, she never has any concluding thoughts. I don't know if she has any thoughts, but we will see you on the next one.
Yes, we'll see you on the next one. And
Monday. Oh yeah, we established a schedule. Yeah. Every Monday.
Every Monday.
I don't know the time, but every Monday.
Stay tuned. Every Monday.
Nighttime Canada, but daytime there. So 10 p.m. We're EST, right?
Yes, we're Eastern time zone.
So between 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. EST, which I don't know what is that time in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. Probably morning.
Yeah.
Right? AM.
Yeah.
So right in the morning where everyone's free, no one does crap anyway. But if they every Monday, early in the morning, we'll have the full podcast for you guys to sleep to our voices. So inshallah, we'll see you there.
And if you have anything to share in the comments, what did you guys think?
Yeah, anything you want us to talk
about as well, any certain topics.
You want to hear like mental breaking stories from a therapist?
Yeah.
Like something that
let us know.
It's gonna rattle your mind.
We would love to discuss that, yeah.
Okay. See you then. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.